Time passed, and 4 years had gone by without them seeing each other. Sarah had moved to another city and, through a friend, fell in love with a talented musician. But he never paid attention to her thoughts and feelings. Even the engagement ring he bought for her was the wrong size because he hadn't put much thought into it. He didn't care if the ring hurt her when he put it on her finger. He even made her go home alone in the pouring rain one night while he went out with his friends. Meanwhile, he never forgot about her. Now successful in his career, he had a girlfriend, arranged by his parents. But every time he passed by a second-hand bookstore, he couldn't help but stop. The book Love in the Time of Cholera always caught his attention, but each time he opened it, the pages inside were always blank. There was never Sarah's contact information. Disheartened, he would walk away each time, but fate seemed to have a different plan. Sarah's name kept appearing around him. At the barber shop, the hairdresser's name was Sarah. At the golf course, the receptionist was named Sarah. And even when he was waiting at a traffic light, the song playing on the radio mentioned her name. It felt like fate was trying to remind him not to forget her. One day, he returned home and, to his surprise, found a red handbag he hadn't seen in years. Inside was the black gloves Sarah had given him. That moment, his longing to find her grew even stronger. The next day, he couldn't wait to go to the bookstore again. He searched through every shop in New York City, but the book was nowhere to be found. Exhausted, he returned home that night, but when he pulled out the glove, he noticed something. There was a piece of paper inside the glove. It was the receipt from the department store where Sarah had bought her things that day. The receipt even had her credit card number printed on it. He had a sudden realization and rushed to the bank connected to the account. After some investigation, he got the address where the most recent purchase had been made. It was at a nearby art studio. It turned out that just a few days ago, when Sarah had seen a $5 bill on a table, it reminded her of Jonathan. She smiled to herself, realizing she couldn't forget that unforgettable memory. So, in order to avoid regrets, she decided to break up with her fiancé. She and her best friend booked a trip to New York. Along the way, her friend was drawn to a wallet, and they bought the exact same one. Both of them were unknowingly on the same journey, searching for the same person. Sarah visited the department store where they had first met. She also went to the ice skating rink where they had spent time together. Even the hotel elevator that had caused their separation, she went there too. But each time, she found nothing. Then, one day, they stopped at a dessert shop to rest. When paying, Sarah didn't realize that her friend had picked up a $5 bill from the cashier. It was the same $5 bill Jonathan had written his contact information on. To her surprise, just as they were about to leave, Jonathan arrived at the shop. And so, after all these years, their paths crossed again. But as Sarah and her friend were about to head back to their hotel, her friend bumped into an old college classmate in the elevator. The classmate was about to get married and invited them to the engagement party the next day. Sarah politely declined, but what she didn't know was that the classmate was actually Jonathan's fiancé. At the same time, Jonathan, after many failed attempts, was beginning to accept that fate might have moved on. He thought that Sarah had forgotten him, or maybe she had already gotten married. He decided to accept his parents' arrangements and get engaged to the woman they chose for him.